You
Yep.
have also been divorced twice. You are an
Yep.
author and you've launched your book. You also work full-time in law. You built a portfolio of like just over 1 million.
2021, I was diagnosed with cancer.
So, this is another episode of Real Life Transformation. This is where we are talking about people's transformation, not that just cause property results, but also massive transformation in personal life as well. So, thank you for joining us on this episode, Zima.
Thank you for inviting me.
I mean, you deserve it, and people are about to find out why, because you have been through a huge transformation. So, just give us like what are the stats of what you have achieved? Let's start with that, and then we'll break down how you got there.
Sure. So in terms of property, I have one buy-to-let, actually two buy-to-lets in London, and I have 3 HMOs in the Midlands. And yeah, I mean that's within a space of 5 years or so.
Yeah. So you built a portfolio of like just over 1 million. You increased your portfolio, your investment by over 300%. You
Yep.
have also been divorced twice. Yeah.
Hmm.
You are an
Yep.
author and you've launched your book and certified as a breakup and divorce coach. This is insane.
Yes.
And there's a lot more and there's a lot more to this story as well, because you also work full-time in law, 7 days a week, very full on. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
How does someone do all of these different things? We're about to find out. Yeah. So before we get into that, just tell us like who was Zima growing up, and like how did you get to the point where he was like, yeah, I'm going to start investing in property and I'm going to start working on myself.
So, I mean, growing up, I was always very academic. So I was always the top of my class. I started off being an account executive, and I did that. I had an MBA under my belt from one of the top universities in America, got married, moved to Jordan, and I had my first daughter, Danya, in 1994. So my marriage didn't last that long. It was only a 2-year marriage. So after Danya turned like a 1 year old, I left the marriage. I left the country. Actually, I escaped with her. We left Jordan, came back to London together. When I came back to London, my parents were very supportive, and they said, this is your chance to do whatever you want with your life. And at that point, I decided to go to law school.
A lot of adversity already very early on, right?
Yes, yes,
Super
yes,
interesting.
yes.
So what was the point where, you were going through your life and you say, hey, want to work on yourself, you want to build something for yourself and start working on yourself and your business. When did that occur?
In terms of business, I actually grew up, wanting to have my own business. My dad started his own business while we were growing up, so he was a huge inspiration to me. And when I was 13, I actually started my own business as selling lemonades. When I was 16, I started working as a sales assistant at Harrods. So I always had that bug in me to have to work and to be self-reliant. So I think it's from childhood.
Good. So you have already, so then you got into a relationship, so then you had one divorce, but then you had a second divorce, right? So
Right.
then you're a single mother, twice divorced, and then you mentioned it about 2015.
So 2015 was when I got my second divorce. So my second marriage was actually in America. So again, I had to leave London again and move to the States. And then obviously I had my second daughter. So yeah, I mean, I was married for 8 years in America. And 2015 was when I actually moved back to London and got my divorce second time round.
So you want to start investing in property, you want to start doing things, but then for the next 3 years, what were you doing between 2015 and 18? Because it was 18, we came across each other, and that's when we started building. So what was happening in that 3 years? Because you were working
So
full time, right?
yeah, so in those 3 years, I became much more focused on my legal career, and I started working for my father. So that changed the whole dynamics of everything. So he said, instead of us hiring external lawyers, I want you to become the company's lawyer. So yeah, the first 3 years were really, really tough in that respect, because I had, a lot of responsibilities and a huge role to fill in.
And then I actually remember you came on, you became part of Real Life before it was even a Real Life tribe, what there is today. And there was a few of us, we were doing some group work together. But then I remember you attended the first ever kind of live event that we did in 2018. I think it was November 17, 2018. Yeah, so after that, like what changed and what helped you start building while you were obviously still doing all these things, still a single mother, working 7 days a week in law, and you start to build this portfolio? What were some of the things that changed for you, and how did that transformation happen so you started pulling all this together?
Before I actually joined Real Life, I took lots of other property training courses. Like I said, I'm a lifelong learner, so I love learning and I love, progressing myself and developing my skills. But when I joined Real Life, I saw the huge difference in terms of the value that you give us, the skills that you share with us, and the wonderful network of different professionals that I met. There's a lot of accountants, architects, a lot of investors, real estate brokers, builders. It's like everything's under one roof. And once you join the Real Life, it's like everyone works together to help each other out. And it's not really a competition between each other. It's how can we help each other and how can we add value? And that was a totally different mentality to the previous training programs that I joined.
But I just want to be clear here. I know we mentioned it. You're working 7 days a week in a very full-on job. Plus, then you wrote your book. Plus, then you went on other programs to become a certified, breakup and divorce coach as well. And you still completed these projects. And you live miles away from them.
Yeah, miles and miles and miles. Yeah, I live in London, and all my properties are in the Midlands.
I think something else that people need to know. You obviously had some health challenges.
Yeah, so in 2021, I was diagnosed with cancer, and it came out of the blue. I wasn't expecting that at all, because I was pretty much a very healthy person, and it happened during COVID. So at that time, it was like worst time possible to get diagnosed with cancer and to get treated, because no one was allowed to join me at the hospital, when I had surgery, when I had my treatments. So I had everything. So I had chemotherapy, I had radiotherapy. It was very challenging, like I said, because I had to do everything by myself. When I went into the surgery theater, I wanted to hold someone's hand because I'm very tactile that way. And I asked the doctor to hold my hand just to calm me down. And she did. She held my hand. She's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to be here for you." I had really long hair, if you remember, Mark. And at some point, I started cutting my hair because I lost parts of my hair, not all of it. So first I started covering the parts that were wearing bandanas or wearing hats. I tried wearing a wig, but I didn't really like it. I decided not to wear it. So I just started showing up as I am. During my chemotherapy sessions, I actually was working. I had my laptop with me on my lap while the nurse was, starting the drip into my veins for the chemotherapy. And she thought I was crazy. She was like, you're supposed to be relaxing, listening to music, meditation, not working. And I said, actually, this is like meditation. Working brings me joy, and when I can help someone, it's like I'm actually achieving something.
And that's why you got voted, because that award is voted for by all the tribe members, and that's why you won that. You became a part of the Real Life Enrichment Program, which is all about the different things. That was actually kind of, if I remember correctly, it was kind of right in that time, wasn't it?
Actually, it helped me a lot, especially the health part. It was like a great way to enrich my own body as well as my life.
This has been an incredible, real, well and truly transformation, how you have come through this. So what would your message be to someone who's probably thinking they don't have enough time, or they've got health challenges, or they're a single parent? What would your advice be to these people so they go out there and start finding their purpose?
My advice is, time is never an excuse. Look at me, what I've achieved within my very limited free time as a single mom, as a full-time lawyer, and 2 side hustles, the divorce coaching business and the property business. So if I can do it, you can do it too.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And that kind of fits in nicely. But in our community, we have a saying that we go by. And that saying is that you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
That's the only way you can discover your true potential.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for coming on here. Thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you get notified when champions like this come on here sharing their transformation to give you the inspiration to go do it yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.